So hello everyone. So welcome to the channel of RD Automation Learning. So today we are back with one more mock interview. And as you know, this mock interviews is just for a practice session so that the people can get confidence. So today we have Shravanti with us. Hi Shravanti. Okay.
Hi Rakesh, how are
So
you?
Shravanti, can you tell me something about yourself?
Yeah, I started my career as a professional, like my professional career as a software testing engineer. So I served as a manual tester and automation tester as well. I got opportunity to work with a few projects like e-commerce, web applications, and I worked for 3.8 years with Product Solutions. Later, I have decided to pursue masters in computer science. So I moved to US and did my my master's degree and graduated in May 2020. And from then, I am looking for a job searching. Yeah, job opportunities also.
Mhm. So what are your current roles and responsibilities in the current company?
So in product company, I had I joined as a associate engineer. Then I promoted to a SC and SSC, like senior software engineer. And I had like manual testing. I had experience with functional testing and performance testing, end-to-end testing, and sanity as well. And in automation, I had experience using I mean uh, writing scripts for regression and end-to-end. Yeah,
Okay. So which framework are you using for automation?
I used Selenium with Java with hybrid framework.
Hybrid framework. Okay. So what is the difference between data-driven framework and keyword-driven framework?
Okay, basically, data-driven framework is like we created test scripts that we separated from the test data. We take test data or input or output values from the data files instead of hard coding in the script. So this way we can give multiple input values effectively, and we can improve the code as well, reusability.
Right.
And when we come to keyword driven, in keyword driven, what happens is we separate the test scripts and the actions are performed. It will be stored in the Excel sheet.
Right. Okay. So what is the difference between test plan and test strategy?
Okay. So in the testing life cycle, we go with different phases. So test planning is the first stage. So we can say that in a test plan we define scope and approach or objective of the testing there. So
Mhm.
testing of the product, software application, scope of the application. And test strategy, we can say that what techniques we are going to approach for the test case development and or the test execution phases, or the test activities to be further taken.
Right. So test plan is actually a document that would describe the scope, objective, and weight on software testing task, whereas a test strategy describes how testing needs to be done. So in a project, what is prepared first, test strategy or test plan?
Test plan will be prepared first.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. And can we change the test plan or the test strategy going forward?
Yeah, because they're ongoing process, like continuously it will change. So on in the project we will have new requirements coming, add up new builds are coming up. So we have to continuously track and control or monitor it and change the document as well, recording that.
Right. So what do you think? Both test plan as well as test strategy can be changed or cannot be changed?
Test plan can be changed, and test strategy also we can change ongoing. Like initially, we can go with some other approach or technique, and later in the middle, or we can see how it works and goes. We can change it.
Okay. Okay. So actually, the best practice is that we should not modify the test strategy. If we are modifying the test strategy, then it means we didn't had the proper clarity of the project in the initial phase. And test plan can be changed. That is there. Okay. So consider a project, on which you were working, you and your team was working, and you were leading the project. Now the project went live. It was released into the production. Now client has got some defect. So your manager calls you and they ask you to do some RCA, and they are asking you to follow some best practices and guidelines so that this incident does not occurs in future. So what steps will you take to prevent such kinds of issues in the production?
So first of all, when we see such defects from the
Mhm.
client side, we have to go
Sorry
and
to
check.
interrupt. Can you please
Did we?
increase your volume?
Wait. Yeah, it is in. Yeah, it is good. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, still volume is low. If you have headphones, then
Yeah, I'll get the headphones.
okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So in such scenarios, when client comes with a defect, we have to check first whether we have covered the defect or not, or we have left the defect. So we have to check our requirements traceability, and did we cover that requirement or not, or in case if we have not covered it, is there a fault from side, we have missed the defect. So we have to document it, try to reproduce it. So in the further builds, we can put it as a in a regression suite, so we can test that and see that not to occur again.
Okay, right. So you'll be adding that test case mainly into your regression suite so that the issue does not.
Yes,
Okay.
reproduce again.
Mhm. So any incident when you have found some defect and you got some acknowledgement or some kind of recognition in your career.
Okay. At the moment, I can recall one incident.
Mhm.
So there was this application uh, where we have order process. So customer visits to the site. He visits the browses the page and customizes the product and goes to the account information and then to the order review screen. So I had this testing one. I mean, perform this testing. Like it was like ad hoc testing. So we can where I can manipulate the URL. So customer is in like to say add to cart page. By changing the URL, I was able to navigate directly to the order review screen without giving the account information of the customer, and I was able to do the back forth also.
Mhm.
So when we found this, it was almost the project was in like cycle 2 or cycle 3 of round
Mhm.
testing. So we found it in like cycle 3. So that was good to find. Yeah, but initially we couldn't find that in cycle 1 and cycle 2 as well.
Okay. Then you would have got some questions, from them that why
Yes.
it was not found.
Yeah, it was because we found that it was because there was a changes in the functionalities. Before the it was not their account information page, there was not their account information page. The page was newly added in a for cycle 3. So that how we found that.
Right. Okay. Now in an organization, you'll get two kinds of people. One people will tell
Yeah.
you that you should maintain the test cases for future purposes, for documentation purpose. Some people will tell you that test cases are just a wastage of time. We can move ahead with the exploratory testing and start testing and give the defects to the developers so that they get fixed as soon as possible. So, what is your opinion on test case writing? Should that be a practice? in the organizations, or should that be removed?
Personally, from my work experience, I believe, and I think as per standards also, it is good to follow documentation. So it will be good in the future as well. And whenever a not not only in the future, whenever a problem comes, or if we face a defect, we need to show the proof also as a evidence. Also, it should be there, the documentation or the test coverage. Like client can come and ask that how could you say that you have covered entire functionality, and how could you say that you meet the requirement. So we can show them by the documentation, so and so the percentage of scenarios or the test cases completed, we can show that. So I think that documentation is important and mandatory should be it should be a mandatory.
Right. It should be mandate, and it's a good practice.
Yeah.
And the point of
Yes.
evidence is very true. If you have tested
Ye-
something, how will you have a proof from your side, right? So at least some sort of
Correct.
cycles test cases should be there. So what is the difference between hash map and hash table?
Okay. So hash map is we can have one null key in a hash map,
Mhm,
but and we can also have more null values as well
mhm,
for one null key. And but when we come to a hash table, we cannot have a null key or null values in that.
correct. Mhm,
Yeah, and I think hash table is a synchronized.
mhm,
Hash map is not synchronized, I think.
right. So hash map is better for single threaded environment,
Single,
and
yes.
hash table is better for multi-threaded, suitable for multi-threaded environment.
Okay.
Then any other difference that comes to your mind?
No.
Okay. So actually hash map, provides a set of keys uh, to iterate. Hence, it is fail fast. But hash table provides enumeration of keys that does not support the feature. Also, hash table is considered to be kind of legacy class. And if you are looking for, modifications of map while iterating, so you have to use for, concurrent concurrent hash map in that case.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this is there. Okay. So what is the difference between array and array list? And when will you use array over array list?
So basically, array is a
Mhm,
fixed size type, and array list is a dynamic. So we can use array when we have like what to say, when we have perfect number. This is the perfect input we have. We are going to give. We can give that static input.
mhm,
But when we are dealing with a list which has suppose for example to say, in a college you'll have a number of students, there
mhm,
we have to use like array list, not
mhm.
array. We cannot give the definite size there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So consider a software application was developed in iOS platform on iOS platform and it was released. Now the same application is to be developed in the on the Android platform. So what would be your test strategy? How will you plan your testing? Because you have already done the same application testing on iOS. Now it is just that it is changing on Android.
In the moment I can recall that. So in iOS, we can say that iOS is an entirely different platform.
Mhm,
It has an entire different OS, and Windows has an entire different OS. Though application or mobile application is open in a browser, we
mhm,
have to see the compatibility with the environment here, with the OS, with the OS perspective. I think whatever the test strategy we have proceeded with iOS application, we
mhm.
have to follow the same with the Android also,
Okay.
like testing approach.
Mhm. So approach would be the same, you mean to say. Okay.
Mhm.
Mhm. So you won't waste your time basically in writing and all those test cases, test scenarios, and all those things, right?
Yeah, we won't be wasting the test cases, but we can identify in a functionality so if I don't know, is this a high level or a low level? I think, but so in a Mac there is a different operations when we come to keyboard actions,
Mm-hmm.
command and Windows action. Those keywords, keyboard actions. If we have such actions related to the test cases, we
Mm-hmm.
have to change those in the test cases. There might be a little like minute modifications in documentation as well.
Right, correct. So, what is the purpose of keeping defect review meeting?
Defect review meeting. So in a team, definitely every day couple of people team will be working there on their task and finding their observations and defects. It is good to have a defect review meeting so we can have a understanding and be in a same page. So in fact I might find a defect where my teammate also has found the same defect, but maybe the approach has been different. I found this, maybe the defect was same, the result of the defect was same,
Mm-hmm.
but approach skill was different. We could get to know that approach, okay, that defect can be found this way also, and we can learn how to find new ideas also to find the defects. Thinking out of the box also we can improve that in a review meeting. And basically it will give a good understanding of the application also, and where we stand in a defect rate, like that.
Right. Also, there are other people involved, like project managers or business analysts might be involved. So they'll,
Yes.
yeah, so they'll be helping you to prioritize the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the priority, you might, collaborate and take a decision whether this defect is to be fixed in this release or it is to be fixed in the
Yes.
next release, like those things.
Yes. In a correct, that have to think in a defect review meeting we will have developers also,
Mm-hmm.
other people also. So yeah, when we are talking about a defect, if the developer is not convinced about it,
Mm-hmm.
or it can be rejected or deferred for the next phases also. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that could happen. Those discussions also will happen.
Right. Also, one more advantage is that you will be able to assign the defect to a proper developer team, development team,
Yes.
right? Let's say if there are
Yes.
multiple developers and it is a big product and it has got many modules integrated. So you don't know
Yes.
to which developer would be the right person to work on that particular area. Because ultimately
Yes.
we don't want only the defect to be fixed, but regression issues also should not come by their fixing.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that identification of the member can be done in this kind of meeting. Okay. Okay. Now, when should we stop testing?
Oh, when should we stop testing? So we can say, I don't, yeah, we can say that when deadlines are meeting, like when deadlines are coming soon, when we are meeting the deadlines or the testing deadlines, or maybe when we think that we have covered um, enough test cases, when we map with the requirements,
Mhm,
the test coverage percentage, uh, by considering defect rate, uh, defect rate is reduced.
mhm.
uh, in a like for a project, if there is a phase to go on a live, we will have 2 to 3 weeks, and in 2 to 3 weeks we will do multiple rounds of cycles, and we are not finding any new defects, then we can say that it is good to release now.
Right. When you are not finding any defect or you are not finding any critical major or
Critical major defects.
because minor defects you will be able to find till the last day,
Yeah.
but you don't have to
Yes.
hold on your release for that. Okay.
Yes.
Then test case execution you covered. Then based on code coverage also you covered, and the defect finding, that is the time interval between the two defects should be very less.
Yes.
The defect count should be less. Okay.
Yes.
So now let me share my screen with you. Are you able to see my screen?
Oh, yes, yes, I can see that.
So
Test
now,
scenario, right?
yeah. So now what we will do is we'll give you a few of the test scenarios or few of
Okay.
the defects, and you have to identify what is the severity or priority, and you have to give some justification. Now,
Okay,
for
sure.
this scenario, you have to uh, tell us the root cause analysis. Let's say there are two phones,
Mm-hmm.
HTC phone and the Samsung phone.
Yeah.
So this is just for an example.
Mm-hmm.
Now, both the phones have same Android versions installed. Now you
Mm-hmm.
have to take some assumptions that are as follows. Both the devices have same screen size and resolution, same processor, same chipset, same RAM.
So,
Everything is same, but yet there is an application which is crashing on Samsung device and it works properly on other device. So what do you think can be the root cause analysis? Let's say your lead or manager ask you to tell the root cause analysis, or how would you start tracking it, tracking the defect?
okay. So both phones has like everything Android versions are installed, same Android versions, and they're connected to the same broadband network.
Mhm,
Uh, I would check. I mean, an application crashes on Samsung. So I should check connectivity in a Samsung device. The broadband connectivity, if it is good, okay, fine. Then I have to go with um, compatibility of the version with the device.
mhm.
Is it compatible with the device or not?
Okay.
I have to check that.
Mhm.
Then compatibility. Even mm, so if application has like some JavaScript code something, maybe that is not compatible with the version I have installed here in the Samsung.
Okay. So you mean to say the inbuilt JavaScript might be there in the application?
Maybe there, yes, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I cannot think of anything else.
Okay, no problem. So let us see. Okay. Now over here, the one thing that you highlighted was right, the OS compatibility that is there.
Okay,
Okay. Also,
okay,
there might be a difference in the terms of speed and the processing power as well. The
yeah,
Samsung
okay,
phone might not have the upgraded version of the mobile app, but the HTC
yes,
might have the
yes,
upgraded version, right? Then occupied memory might be more in Samsung as compared to HTC, hence Samsung was freezing.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
correct. Memory, I should think
there
it
is
is
the
occupied.
application handling capacity. Let's say whenever normally in our smartphones we have the habit of 10 to 12 applications open at a time. We don't close the applications on even if we are not using it. So they are actually open in the background. So
Yes,
this thing might take an impact, might make an impact over here. So whenever the that application is getting launched, but because of other applications which are already running in the background, so the application handling capacity is less in one of the device compared to the other.
okay,
Then cache on the devices could be different, or there might be some battery might not be, battery processing might not be proper. Let's say if you have the battery below 15% in any device and they are not allowing you to open the application due to some XYZ reason,
okay,
then number of background services are also there. Then clock and other system settings could be different. Let's say they are in some other time zone or some kind of these kind of scenarios. So whenever these questions are asked, so this is just on a generic basis. So in an
yeah,
interview they want to know that how fast and how far do you can you think, because
think, yeah,
being a tester it is expected that we are having an analytical attitude in our, that mindset should be there.
okay.
Okay. Now there is a defect which has been found by the team. So the defect details are: a registration form is there, which would get the user's details, and it has got a phone number field. Now this field
Okay.
is JavaScript validated, and it would get only numbers as an input, but internally in the database they are stored as a text. So do you think this is an issue? And if yes, what would be the severity, like high, medium, or low? And can you give the justification for it?
Yeah, so basically, so when a registration form is directly exposed to the user here,
Mm-hmm.
so definitely user will try to give his phone number, contact number here. Yeah, and sometimes I believe that in registration fields, phone number can be the mandatory field.
Mm-hmm.
So when user is not able to give that his input field there, since it is given number field,
Mm-hmm.
it might not accept the numbers there, as in backend it is stored as text.
No, no, actually it would accept the numbers, because even if it's a text, it would accept. So, okay, let's go step by step. Do
Okay.
you think this is a defect?
Yeah, I was thinking it was a defect. Maybe it might not accept the numbers.
It is accepting the numbers, but it is,
Okay, it is accepting the
yeah, but it is handled, in a different way in a database
in a database. Okay.
from the back.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it is an issue.
Mm,
So we can give this issue to a
mm,
low low severity
okay.
and medium priority maybe,
Mm,
because we might not know how that phone number can be used in the backend, or for the tracking purpose also it might be get difficult in later situations.
okay.
So we should give a medium priority here, so that the developer could look into it and change the
Mm-hmm.
uh, field type. uh, but in the severity case, we can give it as a low, as user perspective, from his perspective he is able to enter the value.
Mm-hmm.
Will not be a problem to him. We can give the low severity here.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So let's look at the resolution. See, first of all, you were right. Now we are thinking from two perspective over here. You are thinking from an angle of an end user, uh, you know,
Okay.
who is trying to enter the numbers, irrespective of how it is saved in the database. Now,
Okay.
let's say if it's not a phone number field, it's a zip postal code field. Okay.
Okay.
So we are not going to perform any operation on these numbers. So it can be saved as a text. And generally what
Text.
happens, if someone write as 0100, so it would take that value, because of the text, it would take as 0100. But if you
Yeah.
take the, data type as kind of integer or numeric, then it would take only 100.
Yeah.
So that would be a defect. So if it's a field of postal thing, then we can go for a text.
Okay.
Text is preferable. But if
Yes.
it is not,
Yes.
then we can go for this numeric kind of things.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. Okay. Now you might would be using testing techniques in for designing your test cases in your projects. So there are four options given over here for a particular field you have, which you have to test, and
Okay.
uh, the field should accept alphabets in lower or uppercase. So you have,
Lower or upper.
yeah, yeah. So you have to identify the invalid equivalence class values.
Okay. So here option A is entirely upper class. It will accept. It is a valid equivalence.
Okay.
And option B is has like it has a both lower and upper.
Mm-hmm.
It will accept.
Mm-hmm.
C also will accept lower and upper. But option D, if we see here, we have a numerical here. It will be an invalidate equivalence class value.
Right, right. That is the right answer. The last option, because 0 and 1 are included in the test data,
Yeah.
which which is contradicting to the requirement. They didn't mention the numeric values to be there in the requirement.
Mhm.